Okay, we're going to go through the solutions to the F1 reflection that is on webassign. And so hopefully you saw the video and you play it and you did the notes. And now you're having trouble with this, so I'm here to help you double check your work. Okay, so use your work on Barbie Bungee Jump to answer the following questions. If you missed the activity, then refer to page 5 of the packet for an example set of Barbie Bungee Jump data. Note that it might be really close to page 5. I will probably have to double check that. But the main thing is that we were trying to figure out how far Barbie would jump. And actually, if you look in here, it's in the notes. I have an example in here. Let me close that little thingy. So towards the end, yeah, so you can see here's some data with the Barbie group, right? And so there were 2 variables that we collected. One was the number of rubber bands used. We used up to 7. And then the distance traveled, or the distance her head was below the jump line. So both of these are quantitative variables. So go ahead and check both of them. So which variable would best explain or predict the other variable? So the best explanatory variable would be the number of rubber bands. So that would explain how far her head would go down. And what types of patterns? Well, hopefully you would see we actually had, here's a rough, oh, not right there. That's what I'm talking about, residuals. You can see it's actually a very linear pattern. So we're going to say linear. Draw a line as best as you can through your points. Is the slope of your line positive or negative? You should see that. You can see it's there. It's positive. All right. So if you did the notes, you actually can get quite a bit if you missed class when we gathered data. Which statement best explains the sign of the slope? Well, the more rubber bands in the bungee cord, the further Barbie's head travels, right? And so this one, don't say lower, it's the less rubber bands. So do you think there's a positive or negative association between the number of rubber bands and the lowest point on the head? It's actually a positive association, and that has to do with the slope. As we add more rubber bands, the distance she travels goes up. So I can go ahead and submit answer here. Ignore my dog, sorry. And you can see we got them all right. Okay. Suppose 2 variables are positively correlated. Does the response variable increase or decrease as the explanatory variable increases? If it's positively correlated, they both go in the same direction. So I want increase here, increase there. That's what I'm looking for. And yay, I got it right. Always a good sign, right? Describe the relationship between 2 variables when the correlation coefficient is one of the following. So if it's near -1, that means it's a negative slope, and it's actually quite strong. So it's a strong negative linear correlation. If it's near 0, it's weak. Almost, there may not be a linear correlation. If it's near 1, it's a very strong positive correlation. And here we go. You can see there it is. Strong negative linear correlation when it's near -1, weak or no linear correlation when it's near 0, and a strong positive linear correlation when it is near 1. Plot the following data and determine the correlation. So I'm actually going to pull up something called Staplet. Let me just do that. All right. And you'll want the 2 quantitative variables one. And I'm going to actually pull this off to the side so I can see the data. So ignore me for a second. There we go. Oh, don't read my email. You don't need that. All right. So we have X, and it's 2, 7, 12, 15, 19, and 30. Then we have Y, which is 4.5, 4.5, 24.5. You can just put a space between these. All right. And hit begin analysis. And you can see the scatter plot. In fact, I'll kind of zoom out just a touch. There we go, so you can see it better. So there's the data, and there's the scatter plot. Which best describes the association? So part A, this is definitely positive, so click on the positive, and then determine the correlation. So hint, scroll on down, and you see that part that says calculate correlation. There you go, 0.9326. So that kind of rounds to the, whoops, that kind of rounds to the 0.933 right there. So I have positive and I 0.93. What is the strength of the correlation? We would say this is strong. All right, and hit submit answer. And have to scroll through, and you can see these are all correct. All right, I've got another set of data to plot, so I'm going to pull this aside again. And I'm just going to come back up here and delete the data. So I've got 2, oh, looks like it's the same, 9, 12, 18, 23, and 24. Yes, I want to edit. It says, are you sure? Yes. All right. And so we got negative 16, negative 22.6, negative 57.9, negative 165.7, negative 90.8, and negative 128.1. And begin analysis. All right, so you can see that we have a negative slope, or the association. So the slope and the association are the same. Determine the correlation. So I'm going to scroll on down and click and say calculate correlation, negative 0.793. You should see that as an answer choice right there. So what's the strength of this one? This is actually considered moderate because it's not all the way to 0.8 or further. But it's not as weak as 0.5. All right, so that's considered moderate, and I will go ahead and submit my answer. And boom, all those answers are correct. And then last but not least, here, let me go ahead and put this where I want it and this up. One last question. Explain to me anything you struggled with or that you learned. You can say, oh, I don't understand still why association is negative, or I learned that association and slope have the same direction. Just put your answer in there and submit it, and I do read those. So that's it, and then you're done with your assignment.